Hey, Steve Livingston here. So there's a report out that HMRC are apparently going to up their game in terms of making investigations or opening investigations into tax returns. At the moment, they've been targeting high net worth individuals, those earning more than £200,000 a year or with assets above £2 million. They had a little splurge in terms of a kind of campaign, and it proved a success. They managed to net 1.5 billion in 2024. This has all come out via a Freedom of Information Act request, and this information's come out, and apparently news is it's been such a success that HMRC are looking to recruit 400 new compliance officers for HMRC to open more investigations into the tax affairs of high net worths in the UK. And I personally think this is just the beginning, and this is just the tip of the sword I think we're going to see over the next few years. I think, they try and go after the very, very large companies, the massive corporates, but they're sophisticated and they can move around and they have sophisticated advisors, all the rest of it, so harder to catch. I think the high net worths, a lot of them will be highly supported. They'll have a lot of help around them in terms of advisors to protect them. I kind of worry for the smaller businesses. I think over the next 1 to 5 years, we're going to start seeing it's sort of trickling down into smaller businesses in terms of getting a sort of a scenario whereby it won't be unusual for you running your own business to have maybe an audit, a compliance check from HMRC, perhaps across all taxes, be it VAT, pay as you earn, corporate tax, and maybe then linking into your personal tax affairs every 3 to 5 years or so, because I think they'll want to squeeze the pips out of every possible area. And I do think that small businesses make up the majority of companies in the UK. I think it's probably out of sort of 5 to 6 million companies in the UK, 90% of them are small, probably less than 20 people businesses. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know it's kind of really small, and they are going to be easy meat for inspectors to go after and, as I say, try and get as much as they can. So I think if you're running your own business, always has been the case, you want to run a tight ship as much as possible, but don't be flagrant with things. Your record keeping, keep solid records, have all your documents ready, such that if HMRC do come, you can go, right, here's the information. Stuff like zero accounting or QuickBooks, whatever you prefer. I personally prefer zero. Having everything on there in terms of receipts, invoices, so you're scanning them all, and there's various kind of integrations you can use. Like we use Apron quite commonly with our clients and our own business, and so you've got everything there. So imagine if HMRC do come along, they can just ask a few questions, and if you can go vroomf, there's the information. They're going to go after other people who are less organised than you. So I do think that we're going to see a kind of this shift towards more widespread compliance checks. I think small businesses are perhaps unless they're doing something unusual, they've been left alone largely. I think HMRC will be under-resourced, but I think they'll start to pool the resources more and more into trying to, as I say, squeeze as much as they possibly can out of the middle. It's kind of a theme at the moment on this. So I think, if you are, as I say, running your own business, be wary of this, because, as I say, they're already started on wealthy individuals, and they've had some success. And you don't forget, these wealthy individuals are people who are well advised, and they've already got 1.5 billion out of them. So they will have a much, much wider net they can throw over small to medium-sized businesses, SMEs across the UK. So if you haven't got an accountant, probably get an accountant. If you've got an accountant, make sure you've got a good accountant, and make sure that you are keeping all the relevant records and you're just not doing anything silly, basically. You want to keep your books as clean as possible. And I've always said that anyway. If you're a scale-up company and you're looking to exit, you're going to get crawled. Or if it's not HMRC, it's going to be the due diligence process when you come to an exit. So making sure that you've got all the kind of everything's done, everything's ticked, everything's correct, such that when you don't want them price chipping, because it's like almost doing a survey on a house. When you sell your house, you get a survey done, and when you sell your business, you get a survey done on your business basically by the prospective purchasers, and they'll crawl over everything and they'll look for potential errors in the tax and things and say, right, okay, well, bit of PAYE problem there. You've got a bit of why do you do that for corporation tax purposes? Bit odd, that planning. There's a potential contingency there that could come back to bite. Therefore, we want some sort of retainer in there to cover that liability, sort of price chip, and have, let's say, various things built into the agreement. And the more straightforward and the cleaner you keep your books, the less likely that is to happen. So same applies here. I think this will trickle down, and I think I must mark my words, next 1 to 5 years, I think you'll see a huge amount. It'll become commonplace for having compliance checks, audits by HMRC of your company books, and you won't blink because everyone will be at it, and there'll be a lot of pain probably for a lot of companies that aren't organised or have perhaps been over living through their company, trying to push too much through the books, which they shouldn't be doing, VAT, all those sorts of things. There's tons of them to go after if they go for the sort of the companies that are not well advised. And I think there's probably a lot of them out there. So anyway, that's my thoughts. So keep everything straight, and you should be good. But watch out for this. I think it's coming. All right, take care.